Hi guys, this is Sidney. So today I'm on here to share some messages that came in regards to the full moon energy, as well as what we've been going through as a collective in the entire month of April. Um, Especially highlighting the energy that shifted on the day of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So I had this experience of seeing something in my dream time, which I'm going to share in this video. So right now I don't know what I'm gonna share because I have to let my intuition guide me through this, even though I had a lot of messages that confirmed today, and then all the messages that I had been processing up to this point. So I'm gonna see how it goes, and I don't know how long this video is gonna be. So take however resonates for you, as always, and discern for yourself. And one way to discern is to tune into your heart. And if you feel resonating with the messages here, even though you don't know or you may not know certain terms or what I'm saying, but somehow you're being pulled to the message without any resistance, it is usually a sign. So you can train yourself that way as well and discern with your own intuition. So I'm guided to mention in this video that there may be a particular message for especially lightworkers, starseeds, new earth leaders, divine feminine rising, earth angels, empaths, ancient wisdom seekers, wisdom carriers, energy sensitives. However you resonate, you may be a healer already, an energy reader, or you may be just waking up and somehow being drawn to the message, even though you don't know these terms or you have never heard of this. It's not about knowing, but it's always about what you are feeling pulled into intuitively, that I'm guided to repeatedly mention, because right now we are at this point of conjunction where we are having to be led with our heart. That means we have to learn to walk in the light and walk out of the darkness, was a strong channel message that came along for me to share for the collective at this time. So 2 days before, so today I believe in Korea is the full moon in Scorpio, and today is the 24th of April. And 2 days prior to today, moon called me, so that's how I can best describe. Usually I'm not trying to connect with the moon, or I'm not looking to connect on a specific full moon or new moon dates. It's usually they call me, and then when I'm there, when they call me, it's there. So I receive a download, I receive a message, and that's how it's always been ever since I had that major awakening in 2018. So this time, 2 days ago, moon called me, and it's usually out of nowhere. It's usually it's unexpected, like surprise, that kind of synchronicity. So I knew there was a message, and I briefly connected as it was shining really bright in front of me outside the house. And I received the message that is said, walk away in peace. And then later it came, let new in. And that was the major one. And then moments later, in a slightly lesser, less strong energy, it says, let old out. And I had to meditate with that message for the past 2 days, including today. And as I was meditating with the message, what came was, it's not like, okay, you have to let go in order for you to embrace the light, or you have to embrace the light by letting go, or in order to do this, you have to do that. There was no continuation is the word that is coming up. There's no continuation between light and the dark. And that was really highlighting for me. And then I had to sit with it and meditate further. And then what came was, there's a discontinuation of the darkness. Sorry, just my door just closed, I guess because of the window. So there was discontinuation. Oh my God, okay, I just received another message because the door closed. And then right now I'm getting chills all over my body. There's another message that the Spirit wants me to deliver with the... So the door closed. This huge chapter of darkness has ended for the collective. And the vibration of the earth right now is just at a different state. And that is representing as the door closing completely for a lot of people in the collective. And this is specifically for those of you, you know who you did, you know that you did the work. You did a lot of karmic work, karmic release, did a lot of healing on your part, and that you were integrating a lot, integrating your ego. And you have been doing this diligently, and I'm guided to share that when I share this for this particular group right now, you know who you are. If you resonate with the message is the key. So this is not for everyone, especially, you know, so-called light workers, new earth leaders, divine feminine risings. If you resonate with this, this may be a particular, very specific message for you. Okay, and that angel number that I'm guided to share is 2424 right now, and 34, okay, and 23. So this may be some sort of give you a sign or confirmation that a new chapter awaits you, and that it's not, you don't need to learn a lesson anymore. Is the key message that is coming up, because you've done the work. You already learned the lesson. But the reason why it came up, or the memories, or the feelings with the memories is what is particularly coming up. So it's not you're being triggered, but just that the memories, the stories are coming up, or has been coming up in the entire month of April as we enter into the eclipse season, the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse, and then we had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and now we are ending the entire cycle today in full moon in Scorpio. Is that you've completed the cycle, you've completed the chapter, you learned the lesson, so you don't have to go back and repeat the same thing in order to learn something from that. Because you're at a point that you're qualified to graduate is the word that is coming up. So you've, in a way, passed the test. And the test was from the Spirit. And that challenge, that test, and the Spirit or the universe or your spirit team was making sure that you are ready for the next chapter. That's why you had to re-experience these memories or stories coming up in a form of in a way that's coming up to your mind is what I'm guided to share. So it's not that there was a lesson that you needed to learn, but it was the Spirit making sure that you're not, in a way, it's strengthening your muscles to help you get prepared is what I'm guided to share. Okay, so you don't want to go back and thinking and believing that you need to learn something. There may be a lesson. What I'm going to share is that it's just that recognize that and then you chose not to go back, and you chose to walk away. So whatever that means for you specifically, it could be different for everyone. It could be that, for example, you had to walk away from a toxic relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a partnership, whether it's friendship, whether it's from family members or work relationship, meaning you had to walk away from a certain job or a certain position that you felt like it's not giving you balance, and it's not in resonance with your heart anymore, meaning it's not filling you up with light. So after you recognizing that, you chose not to go back, meaning you had to make some kind of a decision, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional. So in that sense, what we were going through in the entire month of April was to revisit those moments like that, where you had to strengthen yourself through a challenge. So it's like a last prep session from the universe or your spirit team, so that you can transition into the light step by step, is what I'm guided to share. So right now what we're doing is we are integrating a lot of this expansion of light that is taking place, or that has been expanded even further since the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So what happened on that exact date, that evening, night, in my dream time, in the astral, I experienced all of a sudden this like a wormhole or this energy. So usually when I experience this is like, how I can best describe is like, I'm in a different dimension. The energy is different. What I saw was this, there was a letter, there was a word, an English word with lighting, with shining. It's like shining with bright white light and a little bit of gold around. And then in my dream time, I was trying to read the message and trying to figure out what letters there were. And then only thing that I picked up from that letter that I was seeing was T. And as soon as I was trying to read further, it disappeared. And then all of a sudden the energy was like taking me into that energy. And then my third eye was just like bursting, and then I was going in and going in and going in, and the energy was like really intense, just like pulling me like so fast. And then I didn't know what that was about, whether what the letter meant and what that meant. And so I just left at that, because usually in divine timing the messages come. So I just left it at that. And then just today I received a confirmation that the letter that I was seeing during my meditation when I was connecting with Gaia in nature, that it was the letter light. So L-I-G-H-T, and the letter that I was seeing was the T. So after that, further messages that came was that there was a huge expansion of light. So Jupiter represents expansion, and Uranus represents a sudden shift in energy or change, or and we don't know whether it would go, which way it would go. But this time it was to the light, and there was a huge expansion that opened the gateway for the entire collective, was the message that I received. So we are in a completely different energy now compared to the prior to April 20th. And that's how fast we are moving right now, is what I'm guided to share, even though you may not feel it right now, you may not see it. So the analogy that I'm guided to share right now is, whenever I watch all these dramas, and Korean dramas are very popular. And when I look at these dramas, their level of consciousness is very, very different. So the dramas that was made in the 90s and even 2000 and even like 2015, 2016 is very different from the dramas that were starting to be made in 2020 and even now. And in 2020, I believe around 2020, 2019, 2021, I can't really remember, there was this movie, the Korean drama by this very well-known writer. And she had many drama hits that is popular internationally nowadays. And she touched upon the subject of the parallel lives very directly. So it was the first time that came out, like they actually mentioned parallel lives. And before, it wasn't on the national TV or, just openly like that. And so I had a sense that the level of consciousness is already shifting. And then even now, all these dramas that are coming out, especially it's based on a lot of the web comedy. So we call it webtoon. So it's like a comic, but like a web version. And because they're so popular, it's being made or remade or in TV production as like a drama series. And it's usually all this like web tune, how cartoonist, I don't know how to say it, like the creative behind the webtoon, they're like like the millennial age or even younger, and they have this imagination, and what they're putting out is from their soul consciousness is what I was receiving and what I'm guided to share at this time. And so when they put that work out, all these young generations like the MZ or the millennials or even younger ones, they're resonating with this kind of new storylines, and where usually it's like a time slip kind of drama, but not like from the ones that were made in 2000 or 1990s. The take on it is very different. The perspective is very different because now we are living in a totally different environment. And so that's how it's also feeding the collective consciousness through these dramas and all these like movies. So that's why it is so important for a lot of the creatives out there, whether you have the creative desire or that dream, or in any way, music, movies, or all this writing, drawing, however it is important for you to step outside of your comfort zone, or whatever that you may be holding yourself back on due to self-doubt or imposter syndrome or certain fears of rejection or how it's going to be seen. I'm guided to share that you want to work on yourself so that you can start to share your work with the world. That's going to also help anchor the higher level of consciousness that your soul carries in your soul signature is what I'm guided to share, okay? So the energy is shifting all of a sudden, and that the reason why we are saying let new in is because we've been so used to living in survival, living in the darkness, where we were being taught to control. We were being taught to manipulate so that we have a sense of control over someone or over certain situations, so that we can have a sense of security and sense of safety through having control that person or having control the situation, meaning steer in a certain direction that I wish it to go, meaning constantly strategizing so that I feel safe and secure. That was the pattern for a lot of the collective, right? So that we are now having to get used to living in the flow that is not in control. That's why we need to anchor down the home within so you can carry your safety within wherever you are. So wherever you are, whatever that you do, you carry your home with you is a strong message. That's why you're doing a lot of work that I also mentioned in the latest video, that we are doing a lot of root chakra, sacral chakra, that anchoring down that energy as we receive a lot of higher light codes is very important. That embodies the symbols or symbolic meaning behind you being the heaven on earth. That's where you become the magician. So magician in a traditional tarot, that image is coming to me psychically, where you have all the tools and one foot on the ground and one hand up above the sky, where you are bringing down heaven down to earth. And when you look at that, you will see the infinity sign above the crown. That's where when you get activations in crown chakra and upper higher chakras, you're going to start to connect with the divine. And as you are in the flow state, you're going to have less blockages or resistance due to wanting to control or needing to control or having to control anymore. So the energy can flow energy can flow easily. So the easily is the key word. So the easy. So everything comes easily, right? That's where we say easily and effortlessly. Okay. So with that, what is coming up is the rising of the Kundalini symbol, your spine, right? And that the snake, okay, is coming up. So that's why you want to eat clean. You want to take care of your body, because it affects your third eye. It affects your brain chemistry. It affects because this body is like an antenna, the entire stuff. And the now you have to allow the energies to move through, fluently, with fluidity. So that's why you want to do that. You want to take care of your body. That is part of your self-care, okay? Especially eating clean. So what is coming with the eating clean is, as you detoxify your body, you're going to revitalize your system and rejuvenate, is what I'm guided to share. So because when you study the body and how it's all working, you will understand that it's all interconnected. And so the foods that you're feeding or into your system affects the third eye, your throat, and your solar plexus, especially if you're activating certain parts of specific chakra where you are healing. When you eat certain kinds of foods, especially for solar plexus, you may feel like you may experience indigestion or like some discomfort in this area where you are called to detoxify or fast. So I'm also guided to mention fasting right now once again in this video, is because as you experience fasting, you're going to experience a lot of the false signals that you used to live on, is what I'm guided to share. So based on my own experience, so ever since at the end of 2021, I've been regularly fasting. So I've been doing intermittent fasting every day, and then 24-hour fasting once a week, sometimes once a month. So I used to do that very strictly, and now it's more like flexibly. And usually when I do fast, what I'm constantly experiencing is that all the signals of hunger that we feel, and when you allow that signal to, when you sit with the signal, you will recognize that it's not because you're hungry. It's usually this triggers to to eat more carbs or some sugary stuff, it's because the body is addicted to certain patterns. And so what I'm also guided to mention is the addiction. So we were dealing with a lot of the mental addictions, emotional addictions, and I mentioned that sexual addictions, you know, like in regards to the sacral chakra, the root chakra, that we were heavily operating on in survival in the latest video, that we're having to clear out a lot of these addictions in all kinds of forms. It could be a physical addiction, so it could be a certain addiction to food or sugars, or you could be addicted to exercise as well. So anything that is out of balance. That you're operating under the motivation of compulsion, meaning you get insecure, you get anxiety, and you get unsettled feeling when you are skipping a meal or skipping having a dessert or sugary things, or skipping your exercise or something like that is what I'm guided to share, or skipping your work even. You could be a workaholic where you learn to escape through work. So that is what I'm guided to share. So all of these addictions. So at the beginning of this year, I received a download that the major theme, one of the major themes of this year is going to be the purification. So that is an extension to that theme of purifying. Okay, and so right now, because of the Jupiter-Uranus expansion of light that took place, I was actually around that time, before that I saw that what happened in my dream time, I was looking into what happened in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus last time. And it was divinely guided by my spirit team, and it was in 1941 during World War II. So at that time, we were in the age of darkness, and right now we just enter into the age of light, and so the energy has shifted in a completely opposite direction is what I'm guided to share. Okay, so we are no longer under the influence of the dark energies anymore, meaning living in the shadow, living in survival. And as I mentioned in my latest video, that we are transitioning from, you know, how we are transitioning from the darkness to light, where you may feel that sense of uneasiness or fears or sadness, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that you don't have to remove yourself from feeling joy and connecting in this moment now. So that's an extension. It's like, you know, one step and one step and one step. We are moving one step to another one, another one. It's like one, literally one step. Every transition, every transits, during every astrological transits. That is what I'm guided to share. So the energy is shifting very, very quickly and moving very, very quickly. And so you may, if you are being called to watch these videos, to walk through the steps, and I think it just happened like maybe 10 days ago, like 6 days ago, but the energy is like shifting so fast now, whereas before it could have been months, is what I'm guided to share. So if someone from the 1940s came here now, or they're looking at people now, they may see a lot of light, is what I'm guided to share as an analogy, because right now we don't realize, because it's just has become part of our everyday life. The consciousness and all of this, especially since like 2020, when you look at what happened in 2020 and now in 2024, it's amazing how everything evolved from based on what I experienced. There was like very heavy like war between the light and the darkness just before 2020, and then now the energy and everything is like completely different. We are in a completely different energy now, in a sense that is meaning like a higher level light. And we don't realize because we are living this now. But when someone from the 1900s and see us now, they might not see us, but they might see a light being or something like that. It's what I'm guided to share as an analogy. That's how much light we have now compared to during World War II, especially in 1941, when the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus happened last time compared to now. So that is like marking a significant point right now where we have that the World War II representing the dark energy, and we are in a completely different energy. And that's where a lot of the things hidden are going to be revealed and come to the light. That's why a lot of people feel triggered, or they act out, or they project, or they do all this stuff. But also at the same time, the truth will prevail is the message that I'm going to share, because the karmic board is working very actively. And especially Jesus, who is now a member of the karmic board, he is working with people for Christ consciousness. And now there are many portals that opened up just got available like this month, last month, like Pluto, like Palladian healing energy, where you could connect with unicorns for heart healing. Yes, so these energy portals weren't available until just a month ago, just a few weeks ago. And when you look at it from that bigger picture standpoint, it's amazing how these things are working right now. So you want to stay committed to all these energy changes and allow these changes to work with you rather than you trying to control. So you may be dealing with letting go, or letting go of certain patterns or habits, or you're trying to heal some inner child wounds that could look different for everyone, because we're all on a unique journey where you want to honor your unique journey and your unique wounds and what you are going through, and that you also want to pace yourself in your unique pace is what I'm guided to share. Because when you do the work, it's easy to compare yourself with where others are in trying to figure out where you are in the world. That's what you were being taught, right? To know where I am, I had to look around and see what others are doing so that I know where I am, which it was the comparison, like in schools, right? If someone else, 10 people got A's and I got B's, and there are, 25 people that got B's and then 5 people who got C's, like I was constantly measuring, right? Who is against, who is above me, who is below me, who is ahead of me, who is behind me. All these ideas are now having to clear, because this another form of addiction is what I'm guided to share. Okay, alongside with wanting, needing, and having to control in order to feel a sense of security and feel a sense of safety, which is a false emotion, like when you will experience false hungers that you took on as a signal to eat something that we were taught that we had to eat, like for example 3 times a day and this and that. Because when you look at the history of how food culture evolved, how the eating evolved, what I'm guided to mention is that like in the earlier 1900s, dinner wasn't as big as now. The lunch was very big, but then the society made the dinner big so that they could sell more food and entertainment and alcohol and night and stuff like that. So that's how it evolved. And I was shown by the spirit how the Japanese food evolved since the 1900s. Back then, they didn't eat a lot of meat like pork or beef, for example. But then during the war, the soldiers started to get sick And when they researched, it was because they were mainly eating rice and some side dishes like vegetables and fish. But when they're on war, it's not convenient because when they cook rice, there will be a smoke and it could reveal where you are to the enemy, all that kind of stuff. And to save money, a lot of soldiers only bought rice and didn't buy any vegetables and other side dishes that gave them nutrition. So they start to suffer with something like I forgot the name of the disease, but where their body, like they lose muscles, like they have muscle atrophy. And it was because the rice, they got rid of the, yeah, so I'm not gonna describe like too much in detail. So it lacks a lot of nutrition just for eating white rice, and that was all filtered as well, like where they cut off this part in the rice where it has like some minerals, or was it vitamin E or something like that. So that caused this disease. And so this one general who worked with the British Army, he watched and he researched and he brought all this Western way of eating, and that's how they started to spread the knowledge and information that in order to have good health, you need to eat pork, you need to eat meat, because before a lot of the doctors in Japan, they share the information that when you have too much pork or meat or certain things, it could cause certain things, which was a correct information. Now, it became the sharing of the information wasn't in a pure way, but it was all propaganda, meaning we were being taught how to think, and we were being taught what to think, because they formulated everything, which is the manipulation and control, and they started to spread that pork eating is good and beef eating is good, and that's how they've developed all this the culture, like the katsu in Japan, in tonkatsu, we say tonkatsu in Korea, like a pork cutlet that has a similar like dish in Germany, and other countries, but it evolved in Japan, and they incorporated rice with some other things to make it localized, and it became really popular because it was just all promoted from a national standpoint. And so I was also given this information about the level of the cholesterol right now, that the way the medical schools are teaching the students that if you are over cholesterol level of 300, you are to diagnose the patient or the person with cholesterol medication. But back in like around early century, like the century, 300 was no problem. Like it didn't cause any harm to the health of the body, and there were a lot of other natural remedies that so-called doctors or the people in that position who were consulting people who are sick. And now we're just given medications like that, and these medications are all chemicals, and it's derived from animal sources. And another things that I'm guided to share. So this is like very random that I feel, but I'm just going to let my intuition guide me through, because I'm guided to share these things. So what I'm also guided to share is that right now, a lot of the organ implants are getting more popularized or published, more widespread, meaning they're trying to promote this on that same level, like in a propaganda way that started like the Japanese food, how Japanese food evolved and all that. So we are doing the same. We are repeating we are still in that same system. What they will do is they will take an organ from, like, let's say a pig, and then they would manipulate the genes or the stem cells with the human cells to match the human body. And then, because when you are taking out certain parts of your organ, they will replace that into the body. And it's being advertised in the news and everyday information board as if it's something cool, as if we are advancing in technology, as if that is high technology, and everybody's like praising on it. Is what I'm going to share in the collective for the people, a lot of the people in the collective who are not very aware and conscious right now. And also what I was shown last year, at the end of last year, was like in Japan, there was this cafe. This is another influencer was visiting, like, and introducing as something cool, meaning something different, something nobody knows yet, as the cool right now. And they were introducing, when you go to this cafe, you can order a drink from a machine, like a robot. There are no people, and then it's kind of cool, right? They're presenting it that way. And that you could order pig stem cell with the drink, which was considered or was introduced as being cool, and which is going to be very good for your health. And it's hyping a lot of the younger generations, like millennials or MZs or younger ones, who are now into a lot of the social media, becoming the influencer or all these ideas of influencers. They're now trying to use that to continue this propaganda, is what I'm guided to share. And I'm not into politics at all, but what I was guided to see by the Spirit just a few days ago was that I didn't know, but I received this information that in Chile, right now the president, they have a president, like the youngest president in history of Chile. So he was born in 1986 and stuff like that. So he's part of the millennial. And how he won was he was capturing the heart of a lot of the K-pop fans in Chile. So in South America in general, a lot of the K-pop fans and K-pop culture, like music, drama, movies, are very, very big, and is still growing and growing. This candidate who is now a president, he was like in a second place, not the leading one, but then he was using all this like Korean heart shape like this whenever he was campaigning, and then he was listening to Korean pop music, and he used that to connect with the younger voters. And usually the K-pop fans are very, very organized, very super organized, because I listen to K-pop and I follow all this K-pop youth cultures. And I grew up with that. And I used to know this, few of my colleagues who were like really like hardcore fans. And they took me to a few of the K-pop concerts when I was working at the bank. And I was so shocked at how organized they were. And they are everywhere in society. Because it's not just young ones, like of all ages. And so that's how the power of unification, when we are in one love, having the passion, sharing the same passion for the same thing, is how explosive it could be. And so they could raise all this money to donate somewhere like in an hour, and they have like in 10 minutes. Like, I was really amazed. And so perhaps he studied that and he targeted that group, and I don't want to have too much opinions on that because I don't know all the histories or the backgrounds or how he's doing, is whether it's his intentions were pure or not. It's not my job to judge at this point, but the Spirit had me see that all these things are now being used as a tool in a new way to maintain the old system, is what I'm guided to share. And the reason why I'm sharing is so that you are more aware of these tactics now that are very subtle and that seems like highly evolved or something cool. So we have to be very aware that there are new tactics that they're using to maintain the status quo, is what I'm guided to share, because they don't want to live or give up their power, give up their control over the masses, because as we are entering into the light, the sovereignty is rising up and with a new higher level of consciousness. So that is what I'm guided to share. And as you move through this energy right now, soon as we move out of the Mercury retrograde in just a day or two, you may have been feeling a lot of unsettled emotions, as I mentioned early in the earlier part of the video, where you were kind of exploring again or entertaining the stories, or you were like in, I would say, in like a conflicted state between the old way and the new way, and that energy has been surging up intensely the last few days, and you wanted to make some kind of decision, or you wanted to have some sort of an answer, or you wanted to have some sort of clarity, and it could be this entire month, or like 2 weeks, 3 weeks since the eclipse season started to take place and the Mercury retrograde. And it was like in a kind of a test to see where you are. And so I don't want to use the word test with the meaning behind or the energy behind, that something is testing you, meaning something is trying to, in a sense of doubt. Like it's not doubting you, is the strong message that I'm going to share. When I mention the word test, it's not to test you, meaning test to see whether you are this or that, like based on suspicion or doubt. When I mention the test in this context, so the energy behind is like a challenge. It's trying to strengthen you. So the story that is coming up for me to share is during 2002 World Cup, like the football game, you know, the World Cup. Korea was crazy and I was in the middle of it. I experienced everything. It was so cool. Back then we were like, the Korea was very much an underdog in a way, like underestimated, and nobody thought that we would make the fourth place, was it quarterfinal? And I was shown the interview of the coach who was from Netherlands. So his name is Gus Hiddink, and he's now like honorary citizen in Korea. And he contributed so much since then to Korean soccer and a lot of the football players here in a very constructive, very wise, balanced, evolved way. From when I tap into his energy. So what happened was they do have a pre-match, like with friends or with other countries, to, you know, before the game, to, you know, see where the athletes are, right? And usually they have a game with like Malaysia or some other South, like Eastern, South countries in Southeast Asia, that I'm not saying they're better or worse, but, you know, like from that place, you know, they were considered like a team where you could easily win. is what I'm going to share, okay? They were being considered that way. So you would have a match with them, and then when he came in, he changed a lot because there were a lot of traditions inside how things were operating. They were not very fair. They were pretty unhealthy, and they favor certain athletes because they had connection to, they went to same school or they knew each other or something, like, with all these connections. And now he came in to get rid of, all these things, and he's discovering new talents, not in just well-known teams, but like he's scouting young talents from, unknown, that nobody knew, right? And so what he did was he had a match, like pre-match, 1 year before the World Cup in 2002 with, I believe it was France, which was considered a very strong team, right? And so according to the rank, in the soccer or the football league, and so they had a match and we lost with a score of 5-0, and we won with 0 score. And in the media, everybody criticized the coach, the coach that came, like Hiddink, but because he didn't speak Korean, I guess, and also he said he was very focused on the game. He didn't watch all this media and all this stuff, and so he didn't know. But then, people were criticizing, ridiculing him, and mocking him for being not capable, or his skills and were like being questioned in a way because of that one game he lost. But he had a plan, right? He had a match with that stronger team so that he could look at the players, and then he could analyze what were their weaknesses and strengths, and to strengthen their stuff and strengthen the weakness, because they could easily win some other teams that was considered easy to win league, and then they could say we won, and then we are so confident and we're gonna do well in this 2002 World Cup to the media. But it wasn't like for the media or for the reputation. He had a plan, and then it exposed a lot of the stuff about the players and in terms of strategy of the team. And he had that in mind. That's why he went up against the stronger ones. So that is what is coming in right now as an analogy. This energy right now, especially, this is very specific message once again for Lightworkers, star seeds, new earth leaders, divine feminine risings, earth angels. If you resonate with this message, and if you have been going through some sort of energy upgrade with your upper chakras and all that, what I'm guided to mention is that the test that is in a sense a challenge, it was challenging you so they could see where you are, and so you could soften yourself is the key message what I'm going to share, because we've learned to harden ourselves, meaning control, survive, defend, and fight. And now as we are operating from, or as we are moving into the main operator, with the work with the main operator of the heart, we have to soften our energy, meaning soften, meaning open up our heart. So it was to soften your energy from you having to stay hardened, like in survival. And so the challenge or that test, in that sense, came to expose or to reveal, and so you could see and recognize for yourself where you need to strengthen yourself a little bit more to bring balance to your energy between divine masculine and divine feminine. That is in relation to you feeling good enough. That is an extension of you learning to love yourself more. And so all those aspects perhaps that you disregarded or you were looking away from or you were trying to ignore unconsciously was resurfacing. So you could stay balanced, meaning you could soften up, meaning open up your heart is what I'm guided to share at this time. So a lot of this energy has to do with feeling not good enough at the end of the day. And it is all in relation to you having to look into what made you feel void or empty inside that you are trying to fill in from other sources. It could be a relationship, a friendship, work, job, money, material things, entertainment, however it is. In all these areas, there could have been some sort of a pattern, an addiction that you needed to look into, that where you are trying to fill this void inside, because it's also in relation to moving to the unknown right now. And the strong channel message that came was the moving to the unknown is the present moment. So living in this unknown moment is living in this present moment, because when you're living in the present moment, we are living in with the unknown, meaning all possibilities. So it could go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, in all infinite ways. That is your infinite potential. That is the infinity sign in the traditional tarot, in the magician card, when you look at it. So when you start to embody who you are, meaning you're not trying to get something or actually embody or bring in something. The key here is not to bring in or not to match your vibration to something so you become that or you do this, but it's more of that, all this, your vibration, your original soul signature is still there, but we've been living in the age of darkness with the survival that covered up all of this with judgments, projections, criticisms, rejections, right? All these wounds that we are dealing with right now. And as we heal, we are removing one layer by one layer, so that whatever that you had to hold on to as a belief system that caused you to feel that you are not enough. And it could go in many different storylines, like I'm not lovable, I'm not loved, nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, I don't have this, I don't have that, right? I'm not capable, I don't trust myself, I don't trust the world. However it is, all these different stories, that's a byproduct of this I'm not good enough. And so because of that, we were feeling void, and we were trying to feel that void through all these other sources that I mentioned, which created an addiction in the collective for individuals that may look different in a unique way. Now we were looking into that. And so as we are recognizing what you were addicted to, and you were working on shifting into a new habit, creating a positive change for yourself, which is your conscious effort as a creator, because you are a creator that can make a decision for your life. It's nobody's job to do that, right? It's like when you say, I want to change, that is where the change takes place. It's not someone, can you help me change? Nobody can do that, is what I'm guided to share. So when you are in that place where, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to make a decision. And then I'm going to do this and do this, do this, like in a different direction. As a result of you doing that work, you've been dealing with your own addictions. In that sense, all this message is for the specific ones are that you learned your lesson. Now that you had to get used to living in the light, which is not very easy also at this moment. And to make it easy, we are working on that right now, is a very strong message that I'm guided to share for the collective. So you don't want to focus on, because the moment you focus on what do I have to learn, what's my lesson, that's what you are going to sit with. The old energy is what I'm guided to share for this particular group that's going to resonate. So this is not for everyone, okay? This message, very specific message, because the energy has shifted since the Uranus conjunction, Jupiter conjunction, that your words are spells. And so whatever you think and say, it's going to return, or it's going to show up in your immediate reality. That's how things are going to work in this new high frequency light. And so especially if you're a light worker and you're considering yourself as the new earth leader or divine feminine rising, you want to be very, very conscious and aware of the energy behind the words that you say, because it's going to quickly manifest, is what I'm guided to share. So what I'm seeing is you're already highly evolved and you have a lot of high level consciousness. So you're not going to do that, or you're not going to wish ill will towards someone, or you're not going to want any bad things happen or revenge. Even though someone is trying to harm you, you're going to pray for that person's healing. Usually when you are highly evolved or in a certain level of consciousness, that's what your energy is naturally. So because you see the bigger picture and you understand that words are spells and all these energies are real, and you're not doing this to bring in certain results, but it's because you anchored and integrated everything, that it's just part of your natural flow. And that's where we are heading into. And that's what I'm guided to share for this particular group, that you want to be specifically be more focusing on positive, uplifting, forward-moving thoughts, where you believe in yourself, where you are appreciating, you're so grateful for where you are, what you have already, and that you're constantly praising and encouraging and supporting other people. If you are doing so already, like, continue to do so, even though all this so-called people who want to take energy from you, or that there could be some lower entity distractions. You want to use your regular spiritual protection work for yourself, and that when you stay in this light, you're going to be guided and protected naturally. Okay, because you're not focusing on anything negative or anything fear. Okay, and you don't believe that no one, it's like when you are scared of these entities attacking you, or this people energy, so-called energy vampires trying to get to you, when you're constantly fearing this, that's all you're focusing on, or where your attention is heading, and that energy is feeding those energies. So once, because you're highly evolved and you have a lot of experience, you will know that, and you will see the tactics, you learn. So you know what they're trying to do, and then you're like, oh, okay, I see you, right? I see what you're trying to do. And so you're not going to be, but just in case, because they're very, very tricky sometimes, and they come up with new methods. So just stay in your highest timeline with your thoughts, with your focus, attention, and with that, the channeled music that started to come up, like the moment I woke up was this song, I'm Feeling Good. I think it's by Nina, I forgot her name. Like it's very like early 1900, like 1940s, 50s kind of music. I'm not quite sure. So I'm gonna, share the link to this channel music in the description box and all these videos that I mentioned. So anyone who's being called to listen to more, you can click the link. Okay. So that music, I'm feeling good. It's a new day. It's a new dawn, and so that's the energy that you want to be in, and you want to actively align with, is what I'm going to share. And to align with, you need to be present, and to be present, you need to be grateful for where you are, who you are, what you have, and not focusing too much on what you want to become, what you want to have, like all these things, because that may cause you to go into needing to control, having to control, wanting to control. So we want to stay very much grounded in the here and now, is what I'm guided to share. And today I saw this black raven, and then yesterday I saw this like pure white pigeon or dove, which is not very, it's just you don't see this white pigeon in Korea. And when I was taking a walk yesterday with a lot of messages that I was downloading, all of a sudden I was, there were a lot of woods, trees, and then the pigeons was in the ground, was flying up, and then one of them was pure white, and I had to stop to look at it because it was so, I've never seen a pigeon that white in Korea in my entire life. And there was a message with the Christ consciousness, with the symbol. It carries the energy of the peace. So you now want to carry the energy of peace, is what I'm guided to share, if you're drawn to this message specifically. So in the collective, among New Earth leaders, there are going to be different groups that's going to lead in a way, meaning because they have higher knowledge or higher level of consciousness that the collective needs at this time, and they're going to lead with different energy points. And part of the energy here that I'm feeling right now, that I'm guided to share for this group, is you want to continue with the Christ consciousness energy and the energy of peace. Okay, non-violence, the peace, sovereignty, that is part of the empowerment and the transition of living in the light. So you may want to carry this energy of peace with you by living in the here and now. Okay, that feeling of safety and security within, you embody the heaven and earth energy. And so you carry this energy of peace, harmony, unconditional love, is what I'm guided to share. Okay, so continue to honor that. That's in your soul signature, and as you heal, as you do your work, as whatever that you are doing, it's going to radiate, it's going to expand and expand and expand. So that's why it's going in two different directions this year, as the lights are getting more increased. The people who are still in the shadow, who avoided doing the work, are going to be revealed to their shadow because it's going to be triggered. And this other group who's have done the work is now going to expand more in light. So that's how the earth is going to split further on, is what I'm guided to share and what I'm getting right now. Further and further, like this. Right now we are here, but then that's how it's going to move from this point onwards. So that eventually we will not interact with the people in the old earth anymore. We will come to that point. But by the time of the year 2032, we will have to embody all of this integrate and new earth energy. So I don't know how many years we have left, but when we look at the progress that we made, the evolution that we made since the 2020, just by looking into 2020, things shifted so much. So yeah, I don't know what to expect. I don't know how things are going to take place, but let's sit sit with this unknown and enjoy the pleasure in the pathless path. As there's this quote that is coming up to my mind. So enjoying the pleasure in the pathless path is what I'm guided to share. So that's where we are right now. We don't know what's to take place. We are in the unknown. And we will be guided to take further actions in one way or another. But right now, the energy is very much of the integration. So you want to, in a way, continue to stay a little bit more patient, right? Where you have to meditate, to reflect a little bit more in order to have an awakened decision about something, or you don't want to make decisions prematurely at this time. So that when you are integrated, you can make an unawakened decision about certain things in your life that's going to lead to the path of light even further, where you're going to feel more light in your heart. So with that, I'm guided to share my personal story of what happened yesterday. So I received a lot of these informations yesterday. And as I was taking a walk in nature and I came down, I was walking in the neighborhood. And then I was feeling really pulled to get some flour. So I went to this flower shop. And then I was looking at the flowers and I was really pulled to get this like rose. Usually I love flowers, I love roses. And this rose had two color palettes. So it was like very bright pink inside and yellow outside. And I was feeling really pulled to buy that, and this lady who was in the shop came and she's like, oh, you may want to buy this rose because that rose came last Friday and this rose came just yesterday, meaning the new rose is fresh, so it will last longer in your house. But I was feeling pulled to get this, the roses, the smaller ones, that was calling me in a way, that was from Friday. And I was like thinking in a few seconds, but then I told her, I'm going to make a decision with my heart, not my mind. So I'm going to get this flower who's from Friday, because that's what I'm pulled to get, even though it's from Friday. And that came as an analogy for me to like, okay, is coming also like now, as to share with you guys that, you know, we are at that point, that are you going to make decision out of your heart or out of your mind? And this may look less fresh or less blah, that is in the mind. That's from a conditioned mind of what's good, what's worse, what's better, you know, what's winning, and all of that. Ideas are all shifting and being purified right now. But we are still, when we are living in that old mindset, that's what we are going to continue to repeat. But when you follow with your heart, you may not know what you're going to get with that, because it's the unknown, the pathless path, that you are feeling perhaps like you don't know, but you're just flowing rather than controlling, right? And then what happened was she said, actually, because this is from Friday, I'm going to give you a little discount. And then she also said the name of this flower is actually sunlight flower. Okay, so that was, part of the a clue for that dream that I was received as confirmation today, that light, because I was seeing the word light everywhere for the last 2 days. And then when she said it, like I got goosebumps like everywhere, which was like a sign. And then she said, oh, and I told her it's a beautiful name. And it was such a like refreshing, nice surprise, because when you don't expect something and you're just following your heart, you get this like, it's like, receive a good news or receive this good energy that it's a sunlight flower and you resonate with it. And she said, oh, this is a beautiful name. So I said, oh, wow, that's a beautiful name. I never expected. And it makes me feel even like more like joyful or high in energy. And then I thanked her. And then she said like she feels the same when she learned about whenever she buys these flowers. And so I was feeling really like grateful, like appreciated her for giving me a little discount because it's been, sitting there for a few days. And so I really appreciated her, like this kind of integrity in a way, or that good heart. So I wanted to reciprocate and said, I wish you and your store and your business to thrive and, blossom in Korean. And then we were like in a very harmonious, very like, heartwarming little exchange. And then I walked out of the store. And then that's when I saw the white dove, like all of a sudden flying up. And so that was the energy that we are moving into. And the energy of the sun right now is very, very, is playing a very important role. And since early last year, March last year, April, May, the energy of the sun has been upgraded, meaning like it contains more higher light codes, healing codes for healing the body and all this, our auric field and everything. So I think this will be a last message, okay? What I'm guided to share is you may want to connect with the sun, meaning expose your body to the sun, expose your eyes to the sun, expose your crown chakra to the sun, third eye to the sun, because it's the codes and the energies and all the minerals will go in and you're going to receive them. And then it's going to activate, clear, purify, and dissolve all of the lower energies or lower densities within your energy body and within your physical body. So I've been trying to do it on a regular basis. I don't do it like every day, but there are times that I do it or that I'm feeling pulled to do it more than, or less. But that's what I'm guided to mention right now, because it's going to help you balance your divine feminine and divine masculine in the heart center. That's going to bring you that sense of peace and harmony and safety and security within. That is very important. And with that sense of security, that's going to enable you to feel more at ease with living in joy of the now, is what I'm guided to share as a message. Okay, so I think that's all I have for you today. I feel like it was very like random here and there, going here and there, but I don't know how it's gonna come through. And I hope if you resonate with certain parts, I hope it helps you at this time with whatever that you may be going through. And then what is coming is, I'm guided to mention, if you're doubting yourself, if you have a lot of fears with your abilities or your desires, you're hesitating, I'm guided to share that you are enough, you are good enough, and want you to keep telling yourself this, even though you may not believe it completely or fully yet, but your words are spells. So you want to create your own environment for yourself first and foremost, and nurture that environment with the sun, with the energy of the sun, the brightness, the sunlight, all these flowers, so you can bloom in your radiant colors that is unique. So continue to tell yourself until you fully believe with zero doubt is what I'm guided to share, okay? Because there will be certain moments where we doubt ourselves, where we experience certain fears and insecurities that may come up, but it's all part of the shadow, and that's not really who we are. And that's when the times that we need ourselves the most, and you want to bring your soul aspect to your inner child that is wounded, or the old identity that is trying to hold on, okay, because it feels empty. It wants to hold on to something. You may want to say, you don't have to react. You don't have to react to this fear and complain and blame. You don't have to react to your own stories anymore. And you can simply calm yourself, calm your nerves by telling yourself, I am good enough. Okay, so you are good enough. So I was really guided to share this for whoever needs this at this time, okay? So with that, I'm gonna end this video, and I'll see you in my next one, guys. Bye.